Vianne Rocher is a mysterious woman who arrives in the small French village of Lansquenet-sous-Tannes with her young daughter Anouk. She opens a chocolate shop which disrupts the traditional life of the villagers and challenges the strict rules enforced by the local priest, Father Reynaud. Vianne's chocolates have a magical quality, bringing joy and change to the lives of those who try them, and she gradually wins over the villagers with her kindness and understanding. The story explores themes of tradition versus change, religious intolerance, and the power of community and acceptance. In the first chapter of Chocolat, we are introduced to Vianne Rocher and her daughter Anouk as they arrive in the quiet French village of Lansquenet-sous-Tannes during the strong winds of the carnival season. The chapter sets the scene by describing the traditional conservaire, somewhat closed off nature of the village, and its inhabitants, who were initially resistant to outsiders. It also introduces the stern presence of Father Reynaud, who views Vianne's arrival and her plans to open a chocolate shop with suspicion and disapproval. The chapter creates a sense of anticipation by hinting at the cultural and social clash that is likely to unfold, as Vianne's presence challenges the established norms of the village. In the second chapter, Vianne begins to settle into the village, preparing to open her chocolate shop, La Chocolaterie Maya. She observes the villagers and their habits, gradually learning about their lives and secrets. Vianne's unconventional approach to life and her willingness to connect with the villagers on a personal level start to make an impact, particularly with some of the more marginalized members of the community. Meanwhile, Father Reynaud becomes increasingly concerned about Vianne's influence, viewing her chocolate shop as a threat to his authority and the traditional values of the village. The chapter highlights the growing tension between Vianne's modern and liberating presence and the established conservative values of the village, setting the stage for the conflict to come. In the third chapter, Vianne's chocolate shop officially opens, and its unique treats begin to attract the attention of the villagers. The chapter describes the various chocolates and confections Vianne offers, and the effect they have on the people who try them, often bringing joy and stirring up hidden emotions. Vianne's ability to understand and empathize with the villagers' desires and problems helps her gain their trust, even as Father Reynaud continues to preach against the temptations her shop represents. The chapter further develops the conflict between Vianne's open and accepting nature and the strict religious doctrines of the village, as her presence continues to challenge the established order. In the fourth chapter, the focus shifts more towards the impact Vianne's chocolate shop is having on the individual villagers. The chapter delves into the lives of several characters, showing how Vianne's chocolates and her compassionate nature bring them small moments of happiness and comfort. We see how Vianne's presence challenges the villagers to indulge in their desires and find pleasure in simple things, often much to the disapproval of Father Reynaud. The chapter further develops the tension between Vianne's progressive and liberating influence and the rigid religious and social norms of the village, highlighting the growing division within the community. It also sets the stage for potential confrontations, as Vianne's actions continue to challenge the established authority. In the fifth chapter, the conflict between Vianne and Father Reynaud becomes more pronounced. Father Reynaud preaches against the perceived temptations of Vianne's chocolate shop, urging his parishioners to resist the indulgence she offers. Despite this opposition, Vianne continues to make connections with the villagers, offering comfort and understanding to those who seek it. The chapter highlights the contrasting philosophies of Vianne and Father Reynaud, with Vianne representing freedom and personal choice, and Father Reynaud embodying tradition and strict religious adherence. The chapter builds the suspense as the conflict between the two characters intensifies, hinting at a potential showdown between their opposing values and beliefs. In the sixth chapter, Vianne's presence on the village becomes even more evident. More villagers are drawn to her chocolate shop, finding comfort and companionship there. Vianne's influence begins to challenge the long-standing social norms and prejudices within the community. The chapter explores the interactions between Vianne and various villagers, showcasing how she encourages them to embrace their individuality and seek happiness. Meanwhile, Father Reynaud's opposition grows stronger, as he becomes more determined to preserve the traditional values of the village. The chapter further emphasizes the ideological conflict between Vianne and Father Reynaud, as the villagers are forced to choose between the established traditions and the found new freedom that Vianne represents. It sets the stage for a potential climactic confrontation in the following chapters. In the seventh chapter, the influence of Vianne's chocolate shop continues to grow, and the division within the village becomes more apparent. The chapter focuses on the changing dynamics among the villagers, as some embrace the joy and freedom that Vianne offers, while others remain resistant, clinging to their traditional ways and siding with Father Reynaud. Vianne's kindness and her willingness to help those in need further endear her to some of the villagers, creating a sense of community and acceptance within her shop. Meanwhile, Father Reynaud's efforts to undermine Vianne's influence intensify, leading to increased tension and suspicion within the village. The chapter highlights the growing divide between the traditional and the more accepting elements of the village, setting the stage for a potential confrontation as the story progresses. In the 8th chapter, the conflict between Vianne and Father Reynaud escalates, and the villagers are increasingly forced to choose sides. Father Reynaud becomes more direct in his opposition, openly condemning Vianne and her influence during his sermons. Meanwhile, Vianne's chocolate shop becomes a haven for those seeking comfort and acceptance, further solidifying her place in the village. The chapter highlights the growing tension between the traditional and the more liberal elements of the village, as the villagers are increasingly forced to confront their own beliefs and desires. It sets the stage for a potential confrontation between Vianne and Father Reynaud, as their differing ideologies and influence come to a head. In the 9th chapter, the conflict between Vianne and Father Reynaud reaches a peak. Father Reynaud takes more direct action against Vianne, attempting to turn the villagers against her and disrupt her business. Meanwhile, Vianne continues to provide a space of acceptance and joy for those who seek it, and her relationships with the villagers deepen. The chapter focuses on the emotional turmoil within the village, as the inhabitants are torn between their loyalty to tradition and their desire for the newfound freedom and happiness that Vianne represents. It sets the stage for a potential turning point in the story, as the villagers must decide which path they will follow. In the 10th chapter, the tension in the village reaches a critical point. Father Reynaud's efforts to ostracize Vianne and her chocolate shop intensify, leading to a further division among the villagers. Some continue to support Vianne, drawn by her kindness and the joy her chocolates bring, while others align themselves with Father Reynaud, adhering to the traditional values he represents. The chapter explores the growing tension between the two factions in the village, and the pressure on individuals to choose a side. It hints at an impending confrontation between Vianne's progressive influence and Father Reynaud's determination to maintain the established order, setting the stage for a potential climax in the story. In the 11th chapter, the conflict between the village intensifies, as the villagers become more divided in their loyalties. Vianne's chocolate shop continues to serve as a symbol of acceptance and freedom, drawing those who seek solace and happiness. Meanwhile, Father Reynaud escalates his campaign against Vianne, trying to persuade the villagers to reject her influence and return to traditional values. The chapter explores the emotional toll this conflict takes on the villagers, as they grapple with their desires for change and their loyalty to the established norms. It further develops the themes of freedom and conformity, setting the stage for a potential climax as the story progresses. In the 12th chapter, the tension within the village continues to build, as the conflict between Vianne and Father Reynaud intensifies. The villagers are increasingly forced to choose sides, leading to strained relationships and a sense of division within the community. Vianne's chocolate shop remains a haven for those seeking comfort and acceptance, while Father Reynaud's preachings against Vianne's influence become more insistent. The chapter highlights the emotional struggle of the villagers as they grapple with their desire for personal freedom and their loyalty to traditional values. It sets the stage for a potential turning point in the story, as the villagers must make a choice that will shape the future of their community.